This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So last night was CNN's collaboration with Donald Trump in advance of his primary run against whatever candidates the Republican Party is going to throw at him, or any candidates that the Republican Party is opposed to running against their demigod, Donald Trump. And being a guy who is active online, being a guy who is open communication lines, I have an open door policy with my audience. And by virtue of that, the rest of the general public who happens to know my email address that I promote and my phone number that I promote, I got an email from someone who was unhappy, an occasional viewer of my content, but unhappy with my analysis of the CNN, my criticisms in advance of CNN's town hall. Now, I feel like I was right. I feel like I've been vindicated with those criticisms, but I'd love to know if Esther from New Jersey here would agree now that we've seen what we've seen, now that there is a resounding criticism for CNN from other media outlets, other people who do my job in mainstream settings, but also here on YouTube. It seems unanimous. It seems universal to understand that CNN really screwed the pooch here. I'm going to read a little bit from this email, and then I'm going to play some clips from the CNN town hall that I believe back up my point that this was nothing but a disaster from the start. First, hi, Jesse. I periodically watch your commentary and tend to agree, but I don't share your take on the upcoming CNN town hall with Trump, though I understand the lane you occupy. However, I believe, and by the way, I'm not going to read all the different areas because it's already long as it is. However, I believe the attack on CNN from the left and your attack stipulating collaboration with the right is short-sighted, untrue, and quite frankly, ridiculous. This tribal, left-wing, narrow-minded thinking reminds me of the same tone, tenor, and echo chamber as Fox, Newsmax, OAN, etc. Your attacks on Liz Cheney does as well. She's no longer in office to implement Republican policy. All democracy-loving, violence-hating Americans should be on the same side now, fighting the fight to save our democracy. However repulsive Trump is, tonight's CNN town hall will peel off Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, and right-wing social media stalwarts to watch. That presents an opportunity to expose some very brainwashed people to something outside their echo chamber. I trust Caitlin Collins's preparation, smarts, and intellect to press and challenge Trump, not rubber stamp. Furthermore, I anticipate thoughtful, challenging questions from at least some of the New Hampshire Republicans who may or may not be Trump supporters, who may or may not want to vote for him. And perhaps a well-run CNN town hall makes an inroad, a tiny opening for some very brainwashed right-wing viewers and or those straddling to tune in to CNN in the days or weeks ahead, exposing them to facts and fair-minded conversation. This isn't a game, and you're not helping, she's talking to me, you're not helping by mocking and not understanding why Trump has so many supporters despite the horrible things he's done and horrible, dangerous person he is. I challenge you to rise above your podcast machinations to understand that so many of the rank and file on the other side lack critical thinking skills, have inadequate civics educations, and have been deliberately peppered with lies, mis- and disinformation for decades to seed anger and hate toward folks on the other side. Any exposure outside their echo chamber to CNN is a good thing. This is food for thought for you. Thanks for reading, Esther from New Jersey. Well, listen, thank you, Esther, for the email. I would love a follow-up email from you about what exactly you feel took place if indeed you watched it. Let me push back on a couple things, respectfully. I know what the motivations and machinations, I'll use your term, for these Republicans are. I used to be one. I was raised by these people. My parents are still these people. Trump devotees. They venerate the man. They believe he is the second coming of Christ, maybe literally. So I'm fully aware of what motivates them. And I don't believe it's only a lack of civics education, an ignorance, or a lack of critical thinking skills. They are animated and motivated by distrust of others, of hatred for black and brown people, a quest to raise up their particular flavor of Christianity and religion to rule the rest of us. I don't say this as a guess. I say this with intimate knowledge and understanding of how things work here. As far as Caitlin Collins's preparation, it appeared she failed. I don't necessarily lay all the blame upon her. I think if someone offered me the opportunity to question Donald Trump, I might do so. Maybe. I don't know. But, it's a career enhancement for her, to be sure. But what happened was predictable. Everyone knows how Donald Trump is going to act on this stage. After the town hall, they threw from the town hall, which they cut off early, by the way. It was slated for 90 minutes. It went 70 minutes. They threw to Jake Tapper and Anderson Cooper. And Jake Tapper referred to this as the falsehood kept coming fast and furious as he was saying this about the event they had just watched.
About the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more. He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. He said people here in Washington, D.C. at Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlin as a nasty woman because she was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million, he made fun of her account of her sexual assault. And many in the audience laughed.
And applauded.
So, for Esther and those who may think like her, my opinions about this aren't just tribal, left-wing, narrow-minded thinking that is akin to Newsmax, Fox News, and OAN. This was a serious, reasoned analysis of what was likely to take place. The same thing that took place when Leslie Stahl, I'm sure with good intention, sat down with Marjorie Taylor Greene and had Marjorie Taylor Greene on a global stage say that Democrats are pedophiles. The results of this were entirely predictable, including when Donald Trump called the insurrection January 6th a beautiful day and indicated that many of the people in the audience were probably there.
Do you have any regrets about your actions on January 6th?
Well, January 6th was, again, we go back to it, but January 6th had to do with the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, and you don't see the pictures very often. A lot of the people here probably were there. January 6th, it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. That was prior to the walk down to the Capitol building. I don't think, and I've spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've never spoken to a crowd as large as this. And that was because they thought the election was rigged. And they were there proud. They were there with love in their heart. That was an unbelievable, and it was a beautiful day.
And not only that, he wouldn't rule out pardoning traitors against the United States, convicted of seditious conspiracy, while the crowd cheered him on.
But when you said you are considering pardoning a large portion of those charged with crimes on January 6th, does that include the 4 Proud Boys members who were charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their case, but I will say in Washington, D.C., you cannot get a fair trial. You cannot. Just like in New York City, you can't get a fair trial either.
And what do we believe, Esther from New Jersey, what do we believe that the Republicans learned from this? That they're on the edge of just realizing finally, after year upon year upon year upon year of Donald Trump proving to everyone who he is, what do we believe that they turned a corner on Donald Trump? I mean, there was a moment where they were talking about the debt ceiling, and he says the rules that applied to him shouldn't apply to Joe Biden because, well, I'm not president now. and they laughed. The audience gobbles this up. They want this. They love the chaos. They thrive on the irresponsibility. Watch this.
What do you think about the United States' current debt situation, and how can we move forward?
Such an important question. So we're at $33 trillion, a number that nobody ever thought possible. When we had our economy rocking and rolling just prior to COVID coming in, like literally, we were making a fortune. And oil, we were going to make so much money from oil, we were going to start paying off debt. But then with COVID coming in, we had to do other things. We had to keep this country alive because it was so serious. But we have to get the country back. We have to lower energy prices. We have to lower interest rates. Interest rates are through the roof. Energy has to come down. It all has to come down, and we have to start paying off debt. But when we have a debt limit, and they use that very seriously to me. They came in, Schumer came in with Nancy Pelosi, and they were using it. We'll violate it. We'll do whatever. They talked a whole lot different than they do right now. I say to the Republicans out there, congressmen, senators, if they don't give you massive cuts, you're going to have to do a default. And I don't believe they're going to do a default because I think the Democrats will absolutely cave because you don't want to have that happen. But it's better than what we're doing right now because we're spending money like drunken sailors.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to the spending cuts Republicans are demanding?
Well, you might as well do it now because you'll do it later. Because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
That's when I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
So can we please dispense with tripping all over ourselves to act like the opinion of those idiots in that audience matter about anything? They are not serious people who need to be coddled and brought back into the fold of reasonable, rational individuals. These people are fully ready to default on our debt, to tank the credit rating, to harm individuals who rely upon government benefits, whether that be Social Security or veteran pensions. They laugh, their goofy laughs at this sinister, wicked individual. And yet we still have liberals, Democrats, who don't understand the danger that we're in, who want to play games about, oh, there's still some people who are gonna learn the folly of their ways. I think we're past that point. I will give credence to people who changed their minds after 2016 and didn't vote for him in 2020. But if you voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and in 2020, you're a lost cause. I'm sure there's a few here and there who may come around, but not in a substantive enough manner to change the outcome of an election. These people are dangerous. These people pine for freedom for domestic terrorists. These people cry at the prospect of equality for everyone. They demonize trans people. They put in danger LGBTQ people all over the country. They're banning books. Yet I'm supposed to maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe CNN isn't just giving Trump carte blanche a platform to spew lie after lie after lie after lie after lie that has been debunked hundreds of times. And this is not even I have him here to play. He wouldn't answer after multiple requests, demands to answer on what he would do about abortion. Wouldn't answer. Wouldn't say which way he thinks the Ukraine conflict is happening right now, how it should go, who should win the war. He doesn't have answers. He is an agent of chaos that is there to extricate himself from legal difficulty. That's why he's here. To enrich himself and to shield himself from consequence. And if you still, after all of this, don't believe me, not just specifically Esther in New Jersey, but everyone else, let's go to the tape. Afterward, they had a group of Trump voters, and they asked them, how does it change? Do you think less of him? Do you think more of him? How did this alter your perspective on Donald Trump? And so where are these people that have evaporated off into the reason land? Where are they? They're not in this room, I'll tell you that.
To vote, but that's what they have in common, that most of them are Trump supporters. What I want to ask you first of all is, do you think, show of hands, anybody think Donald Trump looks better after this town hall? Any of you think he looks worse? Any of you think the same thing about him as you did when you walked in? So all of you feel that way.
Maybe you feel the same way about him that you did when you walked in. This didn't change anybody's opinion about Donald Trump. All this did was serve to allow him to spew lies, mistruths, disinformation, propaganda. And it legitimized him on a world stage as, well, he's just a standard Republican candidate for president of the United States who needs to be treated as such. This man conspired to have police officers murdered during an insurrection against this country. He is not to be afforded equal stature than Joe Biden or even Nikki Haley. What do you think? Esther, if you're out there, I'd love to know. 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com, just like Esther did here. Follow me on social media. You can tell me how wrong I am there. I am at Dollemore just about everywhere. If there's social media, I am at Dollemore. And if you appreciate what I do, my analysis, my commentary, my loudness at times, I think, please consider supporting my work. The best way to do it is to go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That is absolutely the best direct way to do it. But if you want to stay on YouTube and do it, you can click the join button below my YouTube videos. Become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or you can buy some merch, or you can share this video or comment, like. Just engaging with the content is absolutely a form of support. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.